Hi, thanks for having me. And I'm sure you're all wondering, who's this guy speaking to me in English, infiltrating our premier event here in France, I should say. And I probably got two answers to that. One, technically, we are a French company now, thanks to the investment from the wonderful family investment house Fimelac. We are now majority owned by a French company. Secondly, we have integrated with two very familiar brands in France, digital experts TradeLab and UptiLab. And probably I'll throw in a third one, which is I'm here to talk about the global opportunity and what we're seeing as a global organization. So we'll start with just a little bit of information about Jellyfish. We have 1,400 experts globally, 32 offices. We manage in excess of 500 million of media, and we are one, if not the number one Google partner globally. But we also partner with all of the GAFAs. So, where do we start? Well, we're experiencing about 3 years worth of digital transformation in just 3 months. Of course, COVID has accelerated all of the consumer habits that I don't think has really changed the path of direction. It's just brought it. They've basically just stepped on the accelerator, and brands are starting to understand how much they need to ensure that they're embracing a digital first strategy and embracing digital transformation as a whole. We can see this from very tangible metrics. 40% increase in online buyers compared to Q1 in 2019. We're also seeing at a slightly more granular level, we're seeing search queries like express delivery. We're seeing a 30% increase in those. And to validate this translation or this transfer to e-commerce, we're also seeing terms like nearest shopping mall. That's seen a decline of about 40%. So we're starting to see all the evidence that we're moving more to a digital and an e-commerce world. We think that McKinsey actually articulated it in the best way. Speed and agility are crucial because this once in a generation challenge is likely to have a profound impact on who is left standing when this crisis finally abates. We know that like no other. And being a digital native company, it's quite interesting to see how we're also adapting, but more importantly, helping brands adapt. This used to be our strapline. We used to say that we created perfect digital journeys for our clients. Now, what's interesting about that is that that meant that we had all the skills and the capabilities and the technology to help brands usher their customers online, jumping from platform to platform, but trying to take them down that primrose path to the desired destination. What seems to have changed, and the reason why we've abandoned this strapline, is because we're working in a very different world right now. And we're not trying to usher people around and have all of the complicated attribution models to track those people and to measure them and to create these journeys. We're trying to bring the whole experience to the person wherever they are at the time. Now that's very different. And we'll talk about the big ecosystems and the big walled gardens. But do you remember a time when you could actually look at an Instagram story and you couldn't swipe up and buy that item instantly? What we're finding is that all of the platforms, all of the ecosystems, all of the big GAFAs, what they're trying to do is they're trying to even reduce the gestation period of the funnel, where people come in, they're made aware of a product, they're trying to put everything in place so that you can go from that awareness where they've won your heart and mind and take you right through the consideration phase and into a purchase before you even know it. I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to try and put this in perspective using, well, what might be the old world, but the one that we're so familiar with, which is the shopping experience. Citadium all we all know is a department store, and you would go in there and you go there particularly for the shopping experience and the quality of service and the brand that you recognize. In the digital world, we can say this might be like the Amazon environment. It's a specific shopping environment that you go to because you know and you trust. And in this case, we're talking about Nike products, and you will go in there and you may see a Nike concession and buy the products, but you could also buy lots of other products from other third-party people and buy them all in one basket, and you can leave the store. Then we've got the Facebook environment. So that would be Instagram, Facebook, etc. And that's more like a mall. So you may go to a mall to hang out with friends. You may go to the cinema. You might be just going to have something to eat or just to generally hang out. That's a bit like Facebook. However, within that environment, you may walk past the Nike store. You may get drawn in and then buy something spontaneously. And I believe that's very much like we experience when we're in the Facebook environment. And then we have those destination stores. So the Nike main store, Nike Town, and you walk across and you see the store, the wonderful window displays, you get drawn in across the lease line. And of course, then you see the DJ, somebody on a decks playing in the corner, a really great salesperson in all the Nike gear comes and greets you. And you've got all of the checkouts conveniently placed and you buy something. To cut a long story short, these are very specific shopping environments. And we wouldn't. The store manager of the Nike store would not look at it and say, okay, somebody's just bought some Air Jordans, for example, and they will think, okay, well, hang on a sec. Did they see the Air Jordans when they were shopping in the department store 2 days ago? And then now we need to attribute some of that sale to my sale? No, they wouldn't. They would actually just make sure that they're maximizing the experience in each of the shopping environments. And that's how we have to look at it today. We've even got incredible brands like Carrefour, who we work with, who are very progressive, and they could be arguably seen as an ecosystem in themselves. They're doing a lot of wonderful things to embrace this digital transformation. Things like Les Essentiels, for example. So they make sure that they've got a subscription service where you can actually subscribe, and then you'll be given all of those essential products that you need so that you don't have to worry about running out or panic buying and bulk buying. They've catered for the world that we are today using a digital solution. They're also partnering with FoodX to make sure that their logistical power is so much stronger and that they can keep improving the user experience. They're even doing great things around the actual experience when you're in the store, for example, or if you're in your kitchen and you could use Google Assistant. So they partnered with Google, and you can actually now just either use your phone Assistant, or you could use the Google Home, and you can keep adding items to your shopping list, and then they will fulfill it through the Carrefour platform. So these are all just more examples of where brands are bringing the experience to the user, but also making sure that they are providing as good a service, because the expectation that people have today is being set by the big brands like Carrefour and the gaffers. So you're not just competing against your nearest competitor, you're competing against the standard being set by the biggest and most renowned brands out there. So how do we make this happen? Well, the technology, you've got to manage your data and your technology. You've got to train everyone. That's within your organization, work with partners, ensure that you know what's possible and how we can actually adapt to the environment. You need to build and change your processes. And we did that with Deckers. So another global brand who own Hoka and UGG. And so he said, we made dramatic changes to our people, process, and technology. What did that mean? Well, the 4 pillars of digital transformation. We're talking about people. So right from the top, Richard Russell, he made sure that his team had all of the knowledge that they required, all of the training, the support. They made sure that they partnered with us to fill any voids that they may have had within the expertise of the collaborative group. The technology, we migrated to Google Marketing Platform, and we made sure all the integrated technology was in place to measure, to lay the tracks, and to do the most optimal media buying and asset deployment. Data. We were collecting amazing amounts of data. We were even using tools that would download all of the creative, use the visual API with Google, assess what were the key features of the creative that was working, and make adaptations. We saw a huge increase in performance based on that. And then creativity. Now, let's not forget creativity. We still need to make sure that even with this new canvas, that we are doing things, innovative, creative things. An example with Deckers, again, is we created a pop-up stop using augmented reality within Snapchat. So we brought the store to you wherever you were. That's the type of example of the progressive things that we can do with brands. So I've tried to cram in, I've probably spoken too quickly in English, but you can tell I'm very excited about what's possible, how brands are embracing this digital change, and digital transformation, I should say, but we have to start now. Now, it may be a bit late to get everything in place for Q4 and to hit the ground running with the holiday season, but there is definitely no excuse to be behind when it comes to the following year and the following quarter. So my advice is stop talking, stop thinking, act now. Start your digital transformation today.